everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the HMA Fantasy Wrestling Podcast. This is episode number 31, and we are coming at you with the next quarterfinal of our matchups for this round. And it's going to be a good one, man. We got the number 2 seed 2013 versus the number 10 seed 2007. Looking at this before, it's going to be a really fun one. There's a lot of really good matches to get into talking about. So we'll go ahead and get into it. But as always, I'm joined by a host of other hosts, a host of hosts, if you will. We'll go down the line, see how everybody's doing today. Got a lot of different backgrounds than usual. But Earl, fresh haircut. I love it. How you doing today?
I'm feeling great, man. It's my first haircut since the whole quarantine deal. My hair is longer than probably the last time. I probably was 15 the last time my hair was that long. So I'm feeling good, looking good, ready to play good today.
All right. Seth, looks like you're in a cabin in the woods or something. What's going on, man?
Exactly, man. Yeah, I'm up north now with the family here for a week here, and yeah, we rented out a spot up north, doing some fishing, getting on the boat, and getting some sun. So yeah, gonna be a nice week.
Very cool. Jack, how'd the morning run go?
It was good. No disasters here.
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet.
Wow. All right, and our special guest today, Mr. Tony Ramos. How you doing, Tony? If you can hear us. We might have lost connection. But we'll get back to him. And as soon as he gets back to us, we'll check in with Tony and see how he's doing. But I'm sure he's getting, a bunch of his wrestlers ready. He's got the Rumble on the Rooftop today, so JO's competing today. I'm sure he's excited about that one. Man, I'm excited to see that card tonight. I was just talking about it with Jack before. Did any of you other guys, I guess Seth, did you see the UFC fight last night?
Yeah, I didn't. The connection up here, I couldn't really run it very well. So I'm surprised Zoom's working so well right now. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a rough network connection. But yeah, how'd it go? Was it pretty crazy?
Oh, dude, that main event last night.
I heard Dustin's match was insane.
It was the best fight I've ever seen.
Really?
Sure.
Dude, I love watching him. He always just start to finish is just throwing haymakers, freaking going after it. And
he needs to learn how to sprawl, though. The dude got taken down about 6 times. It was ridiculous.
Really?
I was wanting him to win.
So did he lost like the first 2 rounds, right? And then kind of stormed back?
Yeah, I mean, he was just demolishing his face. He had like a 75% accuracy rating on his head.
Jeez.
It's crazy.
That's wild. Wild.
It was so cool because literally every single round there was multiple times where these dudes were just standing and just going at it. And like you thought you're like, there's no way that we're gonna make it 5 rounds. Somebody's going down. And they made it. So yeah, that was crazy.
Wild.
Man, I thought I think it was like the second round. I thought Poirier was going out. I think it was the second round when he had him up against the cage and was just oh man, got saved by the bell a little bit there. But I think we got Tony. So how you doing, Tony?
I'm doing awesome. Just hanging out.
Awesome, man. You said you're up in Iowa doing some training camps.
Yeah, I got a youth camp going on right now up here in Davenport. So got a session starting up here this afternoon.
Very cool. Well, we're excited to have you on, man.
Thank you.
Real cool. But we'll go ahead and look at the bracket again. Tony, if you are not aware of what we've been doing is an NCAA champions duel. We're just a bunch of board wrestling fans, so we throw random stuff together and talk about it. But we took just to make an even 16-man bracket. We went over the last 16 years and seeded the NCAA champion teams. So if you took the 10 NCAA champions every year, threw them in a dual team, and then we seeded those teams according to, champions by year, All-American honors, Hodge Trophy, and all that kind of stuff. They got certain points for for certain things. And we came up with this bracket, and then we've been going through and just, talking duels and matchups and having a good time doing it. So we're sitting here at our third quarterfinal matchup. Now we have 2013 versus 2007. And it's going to be a good one, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right.
Yeah, Tony, your 2014 team choked, man. They're 3 seed.
Who'd we lose to?
2004 by 1 point.
Okay.
Yeah, there was probably some collusion. I think that I've been on the bad end of a bunch of collusion with Jack and Earl over the last couple of episodes.
Oh man, that
You
one
guys
came down to
have-
the tiebreaker, right?
Yeah, I think so. That one actually did. It came down to a tiebreaker. It was a tie duel, 15-15, and we had to go to our tiebreaker, which was we picked a weight that was the most. We had to do like a runner-up battle, right? So we wanted to take 2 runner-ups against each other, and so we had to pick the weight that we thought was the most like even matchup between runner-ups, and talked about it.
It was freshman Askren versus Howe, right?
I think
That's what
so.
we did. That's what we did.
It was a cool one, man. But let's just go ahead and get into this thing. Or actually, before we get into this thing, I see you got your UNC shirt on over there. How are you? Are you excited about the Rumble on the Rooftop tonight and watching Jo wrestle?
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm actually not gonna be there, but I think I asked a couple years ago for Beat the Streets of Chicago to do some type of event in Chicago, kind of like they do at Beat the Streets of New York. To me, Chicago is one of the best cities in the world. It's got a beautiful skyline. It's a little cleaner than New York City. They did a better job of making the alleys with the trash, so the streets are a little cleaner. And they had always told me like, yeah, we got something coming, and I was hoping that it would at least happen before I retired, just so I could compete, back home in front of the Chicago skyline at night. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's going to be cool, I think, at nighttime when the whole city's lit up and they're wrestling up on top of that parking garage, and you just see that all in the background. So I think it's going to be a pretty cool atmosphere.
That's just absolutely sick setup they have. It looks so cool. I'm really excited.
I saw some of those pictures. That's gonna be so sweet.
Yeah. So how do you think the Jo Nolf match is gonna go, or what are you seeing with that?
It's going to be interesting. At first, people probably think Jordan might be a little undersized, but I know how big Jordan gets, so I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. And it's almost 2 totally different styles. So it'll be a fun one. I'm interested to see how Nolf translates to freestyle. I know he's done it a couple times. So it'll be pretty fun to see. Jordan's unique. Nolf's pretty unique. I think we're really going to see, is Jordan going to kind of get to his low singles and get underneath him and get in some of those scramble situations, or is he going to use more of a slide bys? So it'll be a little chess match, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Besides, did y'all see? I was gonna say, did y'all see Jordan and Downey's clip yesterday?
Yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah.
Here, Downey.
That was really cool. Besides the Jo match, what other matches are you looking forward to?
The Richards and Sanders one I think will be pretty good. Zane looks like he's pretty small right now, so I think they're going to be pretty close to around the same weight. So I think that'll be a good one. I was looking forward to see Palacio wrestle again, but then I saw he's not on the card anymore. So I know Ness and I think Nestor Tafora wrestling. I think that'll be another pretty good one. Ness is always exciting. Nestor just keeps getting better as he's been training at the NYRTC and with Kendall Cross and those guys.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. And it's the first time we're getting to see wrestling in since Big Tens, I guess. or conference weekend, I guess I should say. Big Tens, ACCs, Big 12s, all that kind of stuff. Man, I'm just excited to actually see some wrestling going on, and I'm happy they got together and are doing it, and they're not being crazy about weight and all that kind of stuff, but just going out and scrapping. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch, man. But let's go ahead and get into this thing and get talking about these matchups. And so our duel that we have today is going to be the number 2 2013 NCAA champion team versus the number 10 2007 team. And so looking at these two lineups, I guess before we get into it, we'll just give kind of a slow or go through our lineups and who we got. And so who has the 2013 team again?
I do.
Awesome. Tell us about it, Earl.
All right. Jesse Delgado from Illinois, Logan Stieber, Ohio State, Kendrick Maple, Oklahoma, Jordan Oliver, Oklahoma State, Derek St. John of Iowa, Kyle Dake of Cornell, Chris Perry, Oklahoma State, Ed Ruth, Penn State, Quentin Wright, Penn State, and Tony Nelson from Minnesota.
Awesome. On the other end, 2007, Jack, tell us.
Yeah, so Paul Donahoe, Matt Valenti, Derek Moore, Gregor Gillespie, Trent Paulson, Mark Perry, Ben Askren, Jake Herbert, Josh Glenn, Cole Conrad.
Man, this is gonna be fun. I think when we initially did the first round, 2007 was the 10 seed and they upset the 7 seed, and so we kind of thought like, all right, they skated by. They're probably not going to get too much further. But when I looked at this duel, man, there's some really good matchups here. I think 2007's favored in many of them. But when I was looking at matchups, kind of to start with, to end with, I don't know about you guys, but 65 through 84, I think is pretty awesome. I don't know. Where do you guys want to start and end at?
I would say 97 as far as starting, but
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So is everybody cool starting at 97?
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, well, we'll just go ahead and kick it off. 197 pounds. Quentin Wright of Penn State versus Josh Glenn of American. Jack, tell us who's Josh Glenn of American in 2007. What's his resume like?
Yeah, so this was his second All-American. He was 4th in 2006 as the number 1 seed in the weight, getting upset by the champ, Shane Webster, in the semis. And then he was the champ this year in 2007, pinning Craig Bresser, pinning Chris Weidman, and then beating Kurt Backus en route to the final or to the championship.
That's a pretty good route to the finals, or to the championship, I should say. On the other end, Earl, tell us about Quentin Wright in 2013.
This was his senior year, 4-time All-American, going 6-1, 2-1. In the quarters here, he pinned Scott Schiller. He got by Matt Wilps in the tiebreaker 4-3, and then he beats Dustin Kilgore 8-6 to finish the year undefeated at 32-0.
Yeah, that score, that 8-6 score, does not tell how the match was.
When you have dominated it.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I couldn't remember what the score was off the top of my head, but that just doesn't sound right because he just beat up on him for the whole match. But I mean, let's go ahead and jump into this thing. Seth, what are you thinking about this matchup?
I think I'm going Quentin Wright in this one. I think that he beat a lot of good dudes, and he was always up there. He even coming out as a freshman, he was super solid, and he just continued to get a little bit better. And undefeated senior season here. I think I'm going Quentin Wright for the match.
Awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna go the same way. I don't only know what I could find about Josh Glenn in the few matches I could watch, but I think it'd be a harder decision for me if this was maybe sophomore year Quentin Wright. But this senior version of Quentin just was dominant when he needed to be. Right? We always talk about Quentin maybe having a little trouble during the season, but then in the off season he really, really turned it on. Was always kind of a lower seeded guy that busted through and just beat everybody up. And like I said, that 8-6 does not tell the story of that finals. He beat on him pretty good for the whole match. So I'm going to go Quentin Wright as well. Earl, what did you think?
Yeah, I think Quentin Wright, the guys that gave him the most trouble were the defensive guys like a Steve Bosak and Wilps, guys that, didn't do a whole lot offensively. And you saw Kilgore was always forward pressure, and that played into him with his underhooks, his throw bys, stuff like that. So I think Josh Glenn would kind of be similar. So I'd go with Quentin Wright as well.
Awesome. Tony, what do you think about this one?
I definitely got Quentin Wright. He's a guy that I always had a lot of respect for. He was really freaking tough. He was dangerous too. He could pin guys in a lot of different ways. He was a guy who would go upper body with you. He'd score from his underhooks. He'd get to your legs. He had a lot of tools, to go out there and make things happen. So yeah, I would definitely take Quentin Wright here. Like you said, I remember that finals match, and I don't remember the score being 8-6. I thought it was a lot more than that.
For sure. Yeah. That underhook's just ridiculous that he had, man. Seth, are you with us, or what are you thinking? Or actually, I already hit Seth. Jack.
You mean Jack.
I got Quentin Wright as well. I think that the way that he reacted in that finals match, whenever Kilgore tried to do something, he would use his counter offense and score. I just thought that was super elite and could translate over to any style, not just the big guys.
Awesome. So are we thinking, is it going to be a decision, or are we getting any kind of bonus points?
I got decision.
I just got a decision for me.
Cool. All right. So 2013 is going to take the lead 3-0, and we'll keep it going down to 285 pounds. Where we have a battle of the Gophers. Tony Nelson, 2013 versus Cole Conrad of 2007. I know Jack's a huge Cole Conrad fan, so start us off.
Yeah, so this was his senior year, his second national title, and his third finals appearance. In 2006, he beat Cain Velasquez and Steve Mocco to win it. And then in 2007, he dominated his way through the tournament, getting a fall in 1 minute and 53 seconds against Aaron Anspach, I want to say, from Penn State in the finals.
All right. On the other end, Earl, Tony Nelson.
This is sophomore Tony Nelson. He was 7th as a freshman. This year he beats Gerard Trice 1-0 in the quarters. Then Alan Galagaya from Oklahoma State 5-4 in the semis. In the finals, he beats Mike McMullen 6-2. He beat McMullen in the Big Tens that year as well, and he was 32-2.
Awesome. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm going to have to hear you guys' thoughts on this one. Tony, I guess we'll kick it to you first. See, what do you think about these guys?
I'm going with Cole Conrad on this one all day. Tony Nelson learned from Cole Conrad. That's his pupil. And there's not a lot of guys who can go out there and beat up Mocco like Cole Conrad has done sometimes. That guy's he's a monster, and he's a pinner too. I wouldn't be surprised if he put up bonus points in that match.
Yeah, I think that definitely plays into account here is we're talking senior Cole Conrad that just blew through everybody and, like you said, pinned everybody. Whereas, Tony had some good wins, but definitely, at least in this stage of his career, or probably ever, a win over Mocco, I think, is a way better win than Tony Nelson might have had in his career. So we had, I'm going to go with Cole Conrad as well. And yeah, I think maybe bonus. So maybe a major I'm going to throw out there. What are you thinking, Seth?
I got Cole Conrad for sure. He was just unbelievable. He was dominant. Like I said, I went to the Gopher duels and ever came down to heavyweight. We knew he was getting the pin. So he was just dominant. I think Tony Nelson was squeaking out a lot of matches. He knew how to win. He found a way. He rode guys out to win, where Mocco just freaking dropped them on their heads and got the job done. So I'm going Cole Conrad, and I'll throw out the pin, man. I'll throw out the pin here.
I'll second it. I'll go Conrad by pin.
Oh, wow.
I'm a huge fan.
Right, let's go.
All right, Earl. Which way are we going with this one?
Yeah, I'm definitely going Conrad. And, why not? Let's go with pin.
Oh, man. All right, we got a pin.
Oh, man, 6-pointer.
Starting it off strong.
Starting things off hot.
Oh, man. All right, well, Cole Conrad gets the pin. And we'll circle back around to the top and hit, is it Jesse Delgado versus Paul Donahoe? So, Earl, start us off with Jesse Delgado.
All right, this is sophomore Jesse Delgado, the 2 seed. He was a 2-time All-American at this point. In the quarters, he beats Nathan Kreiser 10-7, Nashawn Garrett 10-5 in the semis, then Nico Megaludis in the finals 7-4. He also beat Matt McDonough in the Big Ten finals to win his first of 2 Big Ten titles, and was 30-2 on the year.
Man, all right. And the other end of things, Jack, fill us in on Paul Donahoe.
Yes, this was Donahoe's sophomore season. He was the 6th seed. He beat 3-time All-American Tanner Gardner, and then he beat national champ Troy Nickerson, and then the best to never win it, Sam Hazewinkle, to take the title after being majored by Sam Hazewinkle 2 weeks before at Big 12s.
Yeah, you're still upset about that.
I'm not upset. I just know I'm right.
You're not right.
Tony, who's the best to never win it?
All right. So.
Oh man, I don't know. That's a tough one there. I'd really have to go back and look because there's been some good guys that have not won titles.
Yeah.
You know, Mike Zadek always crosses my mind. It's tough.
So we did a bracket right before this, and we went back 20 years. So we did nothing before 2000, but went back 20 years and put all the best dudes that we could find that didn't win it in a bracket and went through. And Sam Hazewinkle was the 1 seed in our bracket, but he got upset by John Tringe in the quarters, and John Tringe won the whole thing for us. So, yeah.
Who was in the finals?
Tringe and Mac Lunas.
The other side of the bracket,
Lunas was very good.
Yeah, that right side of the bracket was not.
The left side of the bracket somehow ended up being way tougher. Like Tringe went through Poeta and Hazewinkle. Gilman was on that side.
Simmons.
Pretty legit. Yeah, Nick Simmons.
Yeah, well, you can cry about it all you want, Jack, but it's over and you lost.
Didn't lose.
All right. Well, so we got in a little bit about Jesse Delgado and a little bit about Paul Donahoe. Earl, what do you think about this matchup and how do you see it going?
Yeah, this one, especially at this point in time, would be kind of interesting because Donahoe, especially right here as a sophomore, wasn't the most offensive guy in the world, and we know kind of how Jesse Delgado wrestled as well. So I'd imagine it'd be a pretty low scoring bout. Donahoe was able to get it done with wins over guys like Sam and Troy Nickerson, but at the same time, Delgado's brackets were no joke either. I have to go with Delgado just because his kind of craftiness, his scrambling, the things he could do, counter offense, defense, stuff like that. So I'll go with him, like 1 point match.
Yeah. Tony, have you wrestled either of these guys?
Oh yeah, I trained with Donahoe. So Donahoe came to the HWC right after he graduated for a couple years. And then in 2016, I trained with Delgado a little bit before trials. This is definitely going to be a close match, like Earl said. The one thing that I think – I wouldn't say people forget about Donahoe, but the reason he was able to have so much success in his career is that dude was so good on top. He could ride. He was tough on top. He could turn people. And I think he won a couple of those matches in that tournament just, from ride-in and ride-outs and overtime. But then when you look at Delgado, it brings me back. The match I always remember that year is Big Ten Finals. When he wrestled McDonough, he was all over McDonough's legs, scoring points, getting takedowns. Almost didn't even make it look close or like it was a match at all. And I remember that one very clearly. And that you go back to what Earl said, Donahoe wasn't very offensive. So I think this match would come down to the guy who was willing to take more risk. And I think you're going to see Delgado get to the legs more often and kind of negate Donahoe getting on top and getting those turns and getting that riding time. So I think I would go Delgado here.
Yeah. Jack, what do you think?
I think if it stays close and goes into tiebreakers, I don't really recall a time when Donahoe lost in tiebreakers. So I'll go Donahoe here, especially if it's super close. I feel like he always pulled out the really, really tight ones.
All right.
Yeah,
Jack.
yeah. I was
Or Seth.
actually I'm going Donahoe too. I think that same thing. I think that it would be extremely close match. But I think that the mat wrestling Donahoe would win the match for him and get on top at some point and get a ride out to win. I think they're pretty even on their feet for the most part. So I got Donahoe.
Yeah,
Thanks
he
for
beat
leaving it to me.
Nickerson in tiebreakers and then Hayeswinkle in sudden victory. So his last 2 matches of the tournament were overtime.
Yeah, well, thanks for leaving it to me. This is real fun.
That's why I made sure to butt in and get mine out there before you did.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to go Delgado. And the reason for that is like, I agree with what Tony was saying is I tend to favor the more offensive guy. And especially in the situation where I do get what you're saying, and I can definitely see there being problems with Donahoe on top. But I have trouble picking him like for the chance that he gets on top, right? I think that he would have to get there. It's not necessarily a position that they're going to be in for sure. And I think that Delgado is maybe a little bit better offensively and in the scramble positions. And I just think that there's more lanes to victory for Delgado for me. So I'm gonna take Delgado, and hopefully piss Jack and Seth off a little bit because I really get I get pleasure out of that for sure.
So basically, you base your pick off of pissing people off, huh?
No, I
Yeah,
based
that's real cool,
Messed
Jacob.
up. That's
Your wrestling
exactly what it
integrity is
sounded
at
like.
stake.
you apparently turned your ears off while I was talking because I explained my pick.
No.
But it was just an added bonus that it might tick you off. So Jesse Delgado, we all got a close match. It definitely would be a fun one to see, man. But Delgado gets the win for 2013, and we'll keep moving. So 133 pounds, Tony's old weight class, Jack's weight class in his fatter days, and Seth also.
Those days look like they're there now.
Oh, yeah. We won't talk about it. Okay, Matt Valenti. 3-time All-American, 2-time champ at this point, beating Mac Ryder in the quarters, Daryl Vasquez in the semis, and then Coleman Scott in the finals. The year before, he beat Chris Flieger in the finals as the 6th seed.
That's a good run right there. But on the other end, we've got Logan Stieber. And Earl, tell us about Logan Stieber in 2013.
Who did he beat in the finals, Earl?
I don't remember.
Crap, this is that year. Earl, what? Did you legitimately just bring Tony on for this reason?
I thought he could.
This is wrong.
Some good.
Okay, Tony, I've been through it already.
So Stieber second national title this year. He teched Cody Brewer in the quarter 17-1. He techs AJ Shop in the semis 18-2. They had that controversial final. Tony locked the cradle up, didn't get any backs, but Logan won 7-4.
I watched that again on ESPN, and you got screwed.
I don't know. I should have held on to it longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on it if you don't mind talking about it?
On this match or our match?
What do you mean? This
your
match, your
Logan,
finals,
or the match right here.
Yeah, your finals, your match.
I knew going into the match at Big Tens, I was able to keep it a close match and get it into overtime. So, I knew that not that there was a concern or maybe a fear, but I knew that he knew I could threaten him in some areas, and that my defense was good enough to keep it to keep me in the match. But going into it, I knew if I was going to win, I was going to have to take a little bit more risk than I ever had. And I think that's the first period. That's kind of what opened me up a little bit more, and got him into those positions to get a couple takedowns. But it also is what gave me the opportunity that I had in that match to get to that single where he rolled underneath and catch that cradle. I don't look back on it and say, oh, you got screwed, you did this, you that. Because if you got a cradle locked up on someone, you better freaking put them away. That's a pin any day of the week if you keep your hands locked. And any other time I got to a cradle in almost any other match, I put guys away. So I put that one on myself too. But, it was fun. I didn't have any regrets that year. I remember the year before, after I took third and lost to Logan in the semis, I wouldn't say I had a lot of regrets, but I felt like there was a lot more I could have done through the year training-wise. And then in that junior year, I felt like I had put everything into it, and what had happened, and it was time to move forward.
Yeah. Well, it ended up working out pretty well for you the next year. So it
yeah, it was good.
All corrects itself, man. Okay, so I got to ask while you're on here. We've talked about it several times because we've had we've had your name pop up obviously on a couple of these rosters that we've talked about over the past couple of projects. That stare down.
Yeah, I'm just glad it didn't pop up on the best to never win it one. That was always one of my fears.
That's true. We're happy for you too on that one. Definitely pulling for you. But that stare down you had right before the finals in 2014, can you walk us through that?
I'm going to be honest, I don't remember it. Everyone says that we were standing there for like 5 or 6 minutes, and I just remember the crowd, getting louder as the time went on, but that's all I remember about it. I was just focused and ready to go. I knew that I had a really big mental edge over Graf. Every time we wrestled, I wouldn't say he found ways to kind of blow the match or lose the match. I think more so he just – there was something there where after I had beat him, I think it was my junior year maybe, that he just really had a tough time wrestling me in my style. So I was ready. I was pretty confident I was going to win.
Yeah. I don't know who else was there. If any of you other guys were there in 2014, but that stare down was awesome, man. It really was. It sucks that you don't remember it.
Yeah, it's
but yeah, it definitely kept getting louder and louder. Everybody was jacked and ready to go for that. But we do have a match that we haven't even talked about. So Logan Stieber, Matt Valenti. Seth, what do you think? What do you see going on here with this?
I think this is a fairly close match, actually. I think Stieber gets it done, but I don't think he goes out there and puts up bonus points on Valenti. Valenti was really good and beat a lot of good dudes in his time, but Stieber was also, 4-time champ, goes on to be a 4-time champ, and really he found ways to win at the national tournament, and I think he finds a way to win against Matt Valenti.
Yeah. What about you, Earl?
Yeah, these guys are both probably best on the mat. Valenti, both of his NCAA finals got reversals. So I don't know if Stieber's turning him necessarily, but I do think it is Logan. It's not a major or anything, but he wins comfortably, I think.
Was this – I can't remember if I'm mixing up names or not, but Earl, you would know. Was Valenti the guy that won 2 NCAA titles with no takedowns in the 2 matches?
Yep. No takedowns in either of his NCAA final wins.
Man,
I think they're both reversals. His big points against Coleman and who did he beat this year? He beat Coleman.
Well, he beat
Chris
Coleman
Flieger.
this year. Chris Flieger his junior year.
Yeah, taking that into account, I think it's going to be really hard for him to get the win doing something similar to that. I don't see the reversal on Stieber here, and I definitely see Stieber winning on the feet. So I'm going to go, close win for Stieber. And Jack, what do you think?
Man, I'm sick of picking against Valenti. I feel like we haven't chosen him yet to win. But, you got to whenever he matches up with Stieber pretty much every time, or at least it feels like. Stieber is one of the best guys to do it. So give me Stieber.
Yeah. Tony, have you ever wrestled Valenti?
Never wrestled Valenti, but I wrestled Logan a lot.
Yeah, I purposely didn't ask about that one.
My take's going to be a little different than I think everyone else's. And just because I've had experience with it. Logan I would personally say is the best mat wrestler ever to come through wrestling. And there's been a lot of good guys. Now, would this be the first time that Valenti and Stieber met up if it was the NCAA finals, or would you, how do you guys view it?
I mean, just for purposes of this, I mean,
Yeah, first time I'd
yeah,
say.
yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you, the first time I met Stieber, I got turned. If you've never been under the guy and you've never felt it and you don't have a chance to figure it out, that guy's turning every single one of those guys. And that's the only time he ever majored me was the first time we wrestled. So for me, it's hard not to pick bonus points for him. I know Valenti was really good. Logan is super good on his feet. He's super good on top. He has a lot of different ways he can score. So I'm definitely going Logan, and I would even go and say bonus points.
So what are you talking about with, obviously him being one of the best on top? What was it that he was catching you with? Like what happened?
So it took me a while to figure it out. It didn't take a while to figure it out. It took a while to get out from underneath because Logan was a guy who was almost like an anaconda, where the more you moved, the tighter it got, and the more you were putting yourself on your back. A lot of guys, when they crab ride or when they, claw ride, whatever it may call, they try and force you into the position. He waited for you to make that little mistake, and then, man, he clamped on you tight, and you're on your back, and you're just kind of stuck there. So it took me a while to figure out that I had to do less to actually get out from underneath them and stay more disciplined and kind of wait for my opening. And when you talk about Valenti, who would, get reversals and stuff, I think he's going to get to a position where he tries to go for a reversal and Logan puts him right on his freaking back.
Yeah, definitely could happen. All right, so we got bonus points from Tony. Anybody else got bonus? Are we sticking with the decision?
I'm a little up in the air now.
He kind of sold me. I'm gonna go bonus.
I'm gonna say it's like a 7-point match, so we stay in the decision range. But I think it's close. I think that's true. I think even for me, I was a pretty good top wrestling guy, and I think the first time I wrestled guys was always my time where I'd really put it on with the turn. So I agree with that. I'll stick with the decision, but I think it'd be close.
Earl, are you sticking with the decision? Or you going major?
Yeah, that was pretty convincing. I could go with major. I'll go with that.
Awesome. Yeah. So we got a major for Logan Stieber over Matt Valenti, and I'll write that down and we'll get going. But Logan Stieber takes the win here, and we'll kick it down to 141 pounds, where Jack is going to fill us in on Derek Moore from Cal Davis.
Yeah, so this was Derek Moore's only time All-Americaning. He was the champ in 2007, beating Kyle Terry, Michael Keefe, Nathan Morgan, and then teching the 1 seed Ryan Lang in the finals. This was also Darian Caldwell's breakout tournament. And we mentioned it last time, but go check out his match with Ryan Lang. It will be the most fun 2 minutes you've ever had.
Yeah, it's an absolute battle, just throwing each other for 2 minutes. And that was definitely a fun one. I'd never seen that one before, and Jack texted it to us the other day, and it was really cool. So definitely go watch that. But on the other end, we got Kendrick Maple from Oklahoma. Earl, fill us in.
This is junior Kendrick Maple, second time All-American. He beats Mark Ballwig here in the quarters 12-3. He beats Oogie from the Citadel 4-0 in the semis, and Mitchell Port 4-3 in the finals. The number 1 seed here was Hunter Stieber, who Port beat in the semis, and Maple finished the year 31-0.
All right. Man, I mean, I don't know. I don't know on this one. I mean, Kendrick Maple had such a dominant year, and then on the other end, Derek Moore has a tech fall over the 1 seed in the finals. So
I can jump in on this one.
Go for it.
All right. So I know I said that Stieber was one of the best guys on top. When you look at Derek Moore, that dude could freaking turn a lot of people's too. But then you go and look at Kendrick Maple, and he beat Port, right?
Yeah.
Mitchell Port was tough on top also. He kept his match with Logan close because he was a really good mat wrestler. And that's kind of where, when I sit here and I look at it, I think Kendrick Maple is going to negate some of what Derek Moore would have done to him on top, where it's going to come down to a match on their feet. And I don't remember how good Moore was on his feet. I just remember him getting on top of Lang and really turning him up and getting that tech fall pretty quick. I'd have to go Maple. He beat a lot of good guys. He was really tough, good on the mat. You know, I don't think Moore would have got on top of him and really turned him up like he did to some of these people.
Yeah, for sure. Jack, what do you think?
I like Moore. He was really scrappy on his feet. Had trick knees, that sort of thing. And I mean, I just still admire the top wrestling, so I'm gonna go with the legger.
Is there a little bias there?
Oh, 100%.
A little bias.
Always got to go with the leg riding guy.
All right. Well, good. We got disagreement already. So, Seth, what do you think?
I got Kendrick Maple in this one. I think that, like Tony was saying, I think that Moore was good on top. I think that Maple would be prepared for that, right, going into a finals match. And he was a good game planner. He always went out and executed and found ways to win. And he was so good on his feet that I think that he beats up on Moore pretty handily on the feet and wins this match.
Yeah. All right, Earl, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Maple on his feet can negate Moore on the mat here. So I'll go with Maple.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll pick Maple as well. It's kind of the same as what I was saying for 125 is I think the path to victory for Moore is definitely on top getting turns, and Maple has a little bit more he can do to get that win. And, it kind of cuts down Jack's wrestling integrity when he's the only person voting for Derek Moore. So that's always a bonus.
A toss-up. It's 100% a toss-up here.
He
I don't
loves
think it's just a dominant Kendrick Maple win.
Yeah, Tony, he
I
loves
think it's a good match. I think it's a good match, but
I mean, Derek Moore was undefeated too.
Yeah. Well, Jack loves to throw out that wrestling integrity. That's what he throws at me all the time whenever I pick wrong, and so I throw it right back at him.
Okay, but you were saying that Tyler Caldwell was better than Troy Letters.
Okay, once again, I did not say that. That's what you guys came up with. I said that David Taylor would major Troy Letters, and then y'all brought up everything else. So no, I did not say that.
But what did David Taylor say about the match?
Yeah, my argument kind of collapsed on itself.
He said he won it.
Yeah, so Tony, we argued about that for a while. One of these matchups was David Taylor and Troy Letters, and I was the only one that picked a major for David Taylor, and I was so adamant about it. And then Jude Swisher that is with us for HMA, he goes to M2, and so he asked David about it, and David was like, "No, there's no way in the world I'd major Troy Letters." So my argument collapsed on itself.
I just remember Troy Letters for the foot sweep heard around the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
Matt Lackey.
Yeah. Well, you can't win them all, I guess. So we'll move on to 149 pounds, where we've got Jordan Oliver of Oklahoma State versus Gregor Gillespie of Edinburgh. I was excited to talk about this one. I'm really jacked to hear what you guys got to say about this one, because this is a cool matchup. I get to talk a little JO before he wrestles today. So I'll kick it over to Earl for Jordan Oliver in 2013. Fill us in.
All right, this is senior Jordan Oliver's first year at 149. He went 4-1, 2-1 in the quarters. He beats Jake Soufflone 11-3, Steve Santos 14-3 in the semis, and Jason Chamberlain 3-2 in the finals. And this was his second undefeated season, and he was 126-6 on his career.
Wow. All right. On the other end, Jack, fill us in on Gregor the Gift Gillespie.
Yeah, so he was the champ in 07 as the 5 seed, beating Dan Valamont in the second round, Jordan Lean in the quarters, Dustin Schlater in the semis, and Josh Torella in the finals, in what seems to be one of the better runs of all time. And then the year before he was 7th, and he beat Phil Simpson in the round of 12th place.
So I don't know about you guys, but that's definitely something that I want to look into in the next, after we get done with this or whenever, but some of the like best runs to win a championship. And I think Gregor really, really is up there, man. I mean, those are some dudes he beat. Would you say Valamont, Lean, Trilla, Schlater? Like, God, that's 2 national champs. Trilla was one of the best to never win it. I mean, Valamont was a finalist. Good Lord. But he's got to wrestle Jo. So what are we thinking? We'll kick it down to our Tar Heel and let us know what's this match going to look like. Dare you pick against him?
This is tough because, like you said, I got a personal relationship with Jordan, but Gregor was freaking explosive. That dude was fast. He can have matched pretty much all the same things Jordan can do. I just remember some of the matches with Gregor and Poeta. Those were some of the 2 quickest and most explosive people I've ever seen wrestle. And he was extremely good on top, just like Jordan. I think this match is a lot closer than people might expect it to be. I think it's a 1-point match. I think if I'm not being a homer and just picking Jordan because of the relationship we have, I really think Gregor could get the upset in this one. But I'll have to go with Jordan.
All right. Well, we'll kick it to Earl. Earl, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Gregor, he had just an incredible tilt series, which really, he All-American as a true freshman the year before, and that was kind of a big part of it all. I have to go with Jo. Gregor's weight class was kind of tougher that year, but I like Oliver better at this point in time.
Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, I think Poeta's explosive, but I mean, the things that Jordan Oliver's done on a wrestling mat are pretty absurd. So I don't think that Gregor has ever wrestled anyone like Jordan. So I'm going to go Jordan Oliver.
All right, Seth.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. Nobody's beating senior Jordan Oliver out here. That man was good in college. I'm probably a little biased because he was one of my favorite dudes to watch in college, but he was exciting, man. He had so many different ways to score, and I'm gonna go with him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jo as well. But man, out of all these like fantasy matchups that we've talked about, this is really one of the ones I would love to see. I'd pay to see this one. But unfortunately, it can never happen. So we'll go 157, Derek St. John versus Trent Paulson, and get us kicked off and start talking about your coach, Jack.
Yeah, so this was Trent's national title. He beat 4 All-Americans en route to the championship. He beat Hlushak from Drexel, Zupancic from Stanford. He beat Poeta 4-0 in the semis, and then Craig Henning in the finals.
All right. On the other end, fill us in, Earl.
All right, this is Derek St. John's junior year. He was 4th and 2nd the previous 2 years. Here he beats Josh Demas 4-0 in the quarters, Alex Dieringer 3-2 in tiebreakers in the semis, and Jason Welsh 3-2 in the finals. He was 31-2 and 3rd in the Big Ten this year.
Man, that win over Dieringer is big. Especially, I didn't remember it was in tiebreakers. But
don't forget, he almost pinned Derringer that year too.
Yeah,
really?
I remember that.
But it
the
was
duel,
freshman Derringer.
I think he majored him in the duel.
Wow.
He messed him up big time, yeah. He had his number. I think that played into that match later in the year a little bit.
Possibly.
I don't know. I think freshman Derringer wasn't close to the rest of his career.
Yeah.
But this whole match, I'm going to be super biased.
Well, start it off for us then. We know it's coming.
Well, okay. So I know St. John was really good on top, and he kind of kept the matches close. But I would argue to say that Trent was one of his best positions is bottom. He gets out I've tried to ride him in practice, and obviously he's a little bigger, but I can probably ride him for 15 seconds, and then I get reversed to my back. He's really good on his feet, and he's really good on top. If you go back and watch the Poeta match, he puts up a ton of riding time. Poeta doesn't score a point in the entire match, and he shuts him down on his feet. I mean, Trent probably should have won the year before, getting upset in the quarters. But, I mean, I think he's a lot better than his results show. So that's just me, though.
So you're going Trent?
Oh, I'm going Trent for sure.
Awesome. Well, I'm interested to hear what Tony's got to say because he might be going the other way.
All right, I am going the other way, and I don't know if it's biased or not, because when I look at the resume of Derek St. John, to me, I always say Derek St. John is the most disrespected national champ ever, because I've been around him and I know how tough the dude is, and he was really good on his speed. He was a great scrambler, really good on top. But if you go and look at his career, freshman year he loses to David Taylor. Was it sophomore year he loses to Kyle Dake?
Yeah.
Junior year
on a bum knee.
He had a bum knee on one leg. Junior year he wins the title, beating Alex Derringer. He's only one of, I think, 2 or 3 guys who would ever beat Derringer, and he beat him twice. Derringer never beat him. Senior year, I don't count his senior year. That dude was just so far removed. His body was so beat up, and he's still All-Americans. But junior year, Derek, that was one of the best Derek St. Johns I'd ever seen. It's just hard for me to pick against the guy. He was one of the toughest, stingiest wrestlers who I think gets some of the most disrespect just because he had guys like Kyle Dake and David Taylor at his weight class.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I actually texted Trent about it because I was like, he saw the polls. They're kind of getting some steam. And I was like, where do you think you're at? Because I'm going to be voting for you, obviously. But, like, how would you strategize in this match? And he goes, he relied on his defense and his trick knee where he scored most of his points, out of transfer to the body, and relied on riding time where you hook the ankle and put your head in the armpit. And he just felt like he could get out. So, I don't know. I feel like it's interesting getting his take on it.
His take was he can get out and I could stall on top.
No, he could shut him, or he could score on his feet.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head there, Tony, though. Like, I think he definitely is one of the most disrespected national champs. It's because, when you have guys like David Taylor and Kyle Dake and all those guys at that weight class that have more of the, like sexy wrestling style that everybody likes, they're scoring a lot of points, doing a lot of crazy stuff. He definitely got a little overshadowed by those guys. But man,
don't forget St. John beat David Taylor too in freestyle one of those years.
True.
Well, Trent has a win over Dake.
Well, oh man, I don't know. I think
I'm curious to know, like, he has wins, but like, how was he in the room? Like, why? I definitely feel like I kind of disrespect Derek St. John because when I think of Derek St. John, I don't think of him the same way I think of David Taylor or Kyle Dake, obviously. But like, what would you say to convince people that you already kind of said it, but like more in depth of why, like how he could be more respected. I don't know.
That dude, like when you ask in the room, if you got a guy who's gonna go down swinging, that's St. John. I worked out with St. John a lot, and he freaking would come out. And I'm not saying he'd fist fight people, but that guy would fight tooth and nail, tough SOB, work his tail off, and he was super quiet. He wasn't known for his vocal leadership, I guess, more so just his workmanlike attitude.
Yeah.
Unless you were around him for a long time, you couldn't get him to open up at all. And I think that's why people don't know much about him is because he is a very quiet and laid-back guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll jump in now. So I said Jordan Oliver was one of my favorites. Well, Derek St. John actually was my favorite dude to watch. If you ask my dad, it was always pumped to watch him, and he was just so good in every position, man. And I gained a lot of respect the year that he he got to the finals on a bum knee, and I think that a lot of people look back and don't give him the respect he deserves because of his senior year. I think that he had a huge play on it, that he really didn't put together a great year that year. He was up and down, and he still beat a lot of good guys that year and lost to some too. But he was just solid. He wrestled hard. He wrestled through the whistle every time, and he was just hands-on guys moving forward constantly. And like I said, just good all around. And I'm gonna go Derek St. John for sure in this one.
Yeah. Man. As I'm thinking about it more and more, I'm really thinking of the battle on the feet. And I don't know, man. I'm slightly giving the edge to Paulson. So I'm going to pick Paulson.
What?
I
did not expect Jacob to lean my way.
He's just trying to make Earl make the pick.
Exactly.
Well,
That's what he's doing.
Great byproduct of it, but definitely not why I make. I mean, I'm a huge Iowa fan, man. So I'm not picking that way.
We know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm picking an Iowa State guy here for crying out loud. So give me a break. But yeah, I'm gonna
John's an Iowa State guy.
He is now. But yeah, Earl.
Well, yeah. I mean, talking to Iowa guys over the years, St. John is legendary for his toughness, and I think that says a lot coming from the Iowa program. It had so many tough guys. I don't know. I think this version of St. John, I think he would have found a way to win. He's a gamer. Give me him and just, close match 3-2.
All right.
I like it.
Yeah. It's just one of the ones I'm not upset where either way. Like, I like them both, and I had a really hard time. So St. John gets the win, and we'll keep moving. 165 pounds, Kyle Dake versus Mark Perry. We'll get Earl to go first and let Jack sob and cry and grieve over there.
Good.
So Earl, tell us Kyle Dake 2013. What are we looking at here?
All right, this is senior Kyle Dake, Hodge Trophy winner, 4th NCAA title, 4 weight classes. In the quarters, he beats Nick Sulzer 13-0. Semis, Tyler Caldwell 2-0, and then David Taylor 5-4 in the finals. And he finished with a 137-4 record and a 79 match winning streak.
Wow. All right. On the other end, Mark Perry, fill us in, Jack.
Yes, this was Mark Perry's first national title. He was the runner-up in 2005, beating Tyron Woodley, Troy Letters, and then losing to Johnny Hendricks. Third at 174 in 2006 as a 3 seed, losing to Jake Herbert in the semis and beating Mike Pakashevich for third. Then he went back down to 65. He was the champ this year, beating Deontay Penn, Mike Pakashevich, and then Johnny Hendricks in the finals.
So you said he beat Troy Letters, right? So he must be the God's gift to the earth. So I assume you're going with him, right?
I think this match is a lot closer than everyone thinks. Mark Perry in 07. Mark Perry in 07 was not walking off that stage without a title, and I've said that over and over again.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're such a huge Troy Letters fan, so you have to be picking a guy that beat him.
No. And Troy Letters battled injuries for the rest of his career after he won his title. So I don't want to hear it, Jacob.
All right, whatever. Pick what you want. But
I'm thinking here. I don't think it's just a straight up Dake situation.
It is. You can pick whatever you want.
No, it's not.
Dude's the GOAT, okay? Dude is the GOAT, all right?
I feel like Jacob's never watched a Mark Perry
I'll
match.
jump in. I'll jump in on this one, Mueller. And this isn't having my Iowa bias. Mark, like he said, this match will be a lot closer than people think. Mark Perry was another really good guy on top, just like Kyle Dake. He was one of the things that people don't know about Mark Perry is that dude is a mastermind when it comes to match strategy, film review, breakdown. he puts together some of the best game plans in the world for his athletes. Now you look at a guy like Gilman and why Gilman had so much success. Mark Perry had these great game plans for him that he stuck to and he followed. But on the other end, I've picked against Kyle Dake so many times, and every time it's proven wrong. I don't know if I can pick against him anymore. So I'm going to have to go Dake, even though I do think it'll be really close.
Yeah. Well, Jack, I mean, you could think all you want.
I would be more excited for this match than the David Taylor match.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but I'm going to go with Tony here. It's Kyle Dake, and I think it's a close match, like you're saying. I don't think it's any kind of, beat down or anything. And I mean, Kyle Dake also wasn't in the habit of really putting a beat down on all these top guys. I mean,
go back and watch the Mullen Arrow match.
All right. Okay.
He beat down some really good guys.
No, he did. I know, but I'm saying like it's kind of like we talked about Jaden the other day, right? Jaden had a very high bonus rate, but when he hit the top of the top guys, he won convincingly, but it wasn't tech falls and pins and majors. It was kind of like, 5-6 point wins. I think this one's even closer than that. I think Kyle Dake
was more dominant than Jaden.
All right, whatever.
I mean, I'll go Dake, but I'm just thinking like he dominated some really good guys. Like, I still think Dake is one of the best to do it. The best, probably, in my mind.
No, I agree. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into that then. The GOAT. All right, it's got to be either Dake or Kale. Right. So
that's totally another day, another topic.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that could.
All right. Well, I guess I've been shut down. So Kyle Dake, I'll shut up. Seth.
Yeah, I think it's extremely, extremely close, but it's hard to pick against a four-timer. So I got Kyle Dake.
For sure. Earl.
Yeah, I'm on board with Dake as well. Good matchup, great match to watch, but he'll pull it out.
Yeah, for sure. Usually does. So Kyle Dake gets the win for 2013, improving the score to 22-6 after I change it. And we'll head down to 174 pounds where we have Chris Perry of Oklahoma State versus Ben Funky Askren of the Missouri Tigers. Fill us in on Chris Perry, Earl.
All right, so this is junior year Chris Perry. He was third the year before and first here. He beats Nick Heflin in the quarters 3-2 in tiebreakers. Robert Kokesh 4-2 sudden victory in the semis. Matt Brown 2-1 in tiebreakers in the finals. He was the 1 seed and he was 36-2.
All right. And on the other end, Ben Askren. Jack.
Yeah, so 4-time finalist, 2-time champ at this point. He beat Gavin in the finals this year. And then the year before, he beat Herbert in the finals. I mean, I feel like we always talk about Ben Askren. Everyone knows Ben Askren. It's Ben Askren.
Yeah. Man's got 2 Hodge trophies.
He pinned a lot of guys.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be Ben Askren for me. And I think we've talked about it before, out of Chris Perry's 2 national titles, I think that he's a different dude in the second one. And, not obviously won a national title this year, so he was extremely good, but I don't think this is the best version of Chris Perry. And so I'm definitely going bonus for Ben Askren. And yeah, I'll go major decision for Ben Askren. Earl, what do you think?
I'm on board with it. I'm good with it.
All right, if you're going major, you got to go pin because that means you put him on his back. And if he puts him on his back, he's pinning him. So I'll go pin, man. I'll go pin Ben Askren.
I'll go pin Ben Askren.
The disrespect.
It's not disrespectful. He pinned 91 guys.
How many of those were 2-time champs? How many of those were 2-time champs?
Well, he was a 1-time champ at this point. So
yeah, well.
And I'm sure he pinned some 1-time champs.
Yeah, well, also a large majority of those pins were also at, the Missouri State Open. or
Not a majority of them.
A lot of 'em.
Not a lot of them. You can only wrestle freaking 4 or 5 matches there, dude.
Dude, he's on FRL and T-Row and Funky and all these shows talking about how he would go to the smaller tournaments and pad his stats. So don't at me with that. Right? The dude says it himself.
Yeah, but so you're saying, I mean, yeah, that's maybe 20, 30, padded him a little bit, but that leaves 60 guys that he still
for
pinned
sure.
that weren't.
Absolutely.
That's this senior year. This is when he pinned like 18 or 19 consecutive guys, and it was between Vegas and the Southern Scuffle. And I think there was 5 or 6 All-Americans in there as well. They pinned, like eventual All-American, something like that. So he pinned the legit dudes.
Are you reading off my stats?
Yeah, who ended up breaking?
All right, Tony, what do you think about it?
I'm gonna go with Jack and Seth just to piss you
Let's
off.
go.
Wow. All right, it's getting personal.
I think
Yes,
Perry's
sir.
another tough dude, and Perry, like his brother, is a master game planner. If you go and talk to Perry about his senior year when he beat Howe, he freaking changed his whole style of wrestling and switched to a left leg lead just because he knew Howe couldn't shoot on a left leg. So Perry's one of those guys who's willing to do crazy things like that and do whatever it takes to win a match, even if it's win by 1 point. But then on the other hand, you got Askren, who's not going to allow that to happen because he's going to put you in some funky positions and he's going to make you have to open up and wrestle. And he'll catch you on your back and he can pin you.
Is Chris Perry?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing about. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was going to say the thing about Askren is, right, you can practice, try to put yourself in those scramble positions, but at some point you're going to be in a position that you've never been in before, and he's going to take advantage of that. So I think that's where he gets in a position Perry hasn't been in and gets it done.
The disrespect, man. I'm sticking with it. I'm going major decision, but I've been outvoted. So Chris,
We got to make the duel a little closer.
A little closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad. This is a bloodbath.
It really is.
This has been bad.
But it's like some of these matches have been toss-ups. Like I would say 41 through 57 was a toss-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with 25 too. Those could all flip-flop.
For sure. But a pin against my better judgment for Ben Askren. And we'll get to the last match of the duel, which is going to be 184 pounds. Ed Ruth of Penn State versus Jake Herbert of Northwestern. And Earl, kick it off with Ed Ruth.
All right, this is junior year Ed Ruth. He was third, first, and then first. He beats in the quarters Josh Einen of Nebraska 11-1, Steve Bosak, a returning champion 4-1, and then Robert Hamlin in the finals 12-4, and he finished the year 33-0 and was on a 68-match winning streak.
Yeah. You said which year was this?
Junior.
Jake Herbert.
Yeah, so this was Jake Herbert's first national title. Did he win 2? Did he get 2?
Yep.
He was a runner-up in 06, beating Mark Perry in the semis and then losing to Ben Askren in the finals. He was the champ in 07, beating Tyrell Todd in the semis and Jake Varner in the finals.
Yeah.
So looking at this match, I was texting Trenton Travis and Garland, and I was like, it's Ruth, like next topic sort of thing. And Trenton Travis just lit me up, like, no way, look at their freestyle matches, like they've wrestled before. And I was like, it was freestyle. Like Ed Ruth was clearly better in folk style. And I watched the match. I sent it to you guys. And Jake Herbert texts Ed Ruth with 5 takedowns to 1, and it was 12-2. And it was like legit down block, reattack sort of takedowns.
This is when Herbert was getting a little bit older too.
Yeah, this was probably 2014, 2015.
With the sickest
15.
mullet there
15.
is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going Herbert just because of that one match.
So I guess
he dominated him.
Yeah, I guess you got the one thing to look at is what does Ruth do to him on top though? Is there a chance he's getting that cradle locked up, getting turned?
Yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know.
but he's wrestled a cradler before in Ben.
Did Ben turn him?
Yeah, a lot. It
Yeah.
was 14-2. So that match, right before the match, or not right before, but like that, like lunch evening area, I saw him or Herbert and his family, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Jake Herbert!" And I was a child, so I got his autograph and a picture, and so I was rooting so hard for Herbert. And then I felt so bad when he lost that match because he just got killed. But man, it was, yeah, I felt like I had part to play. I thought I threw him off his game or something.
You did. It
We
was
lost because of you, Jack.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Jake,
I was like,
Jake
I
Herbert.
ruined Jake Herbert's tournament.
He's only a two-timer because of Jack Mueller. And
Exactly. I cursed
but-
him.
so did Askren, were any of those turns cradles? I think
I
that's
think they were
I
out of
know-
scrambles.
Yeah, I knew right off the whistle, Herbert shot, and they had a real long scramble, and Askren ended up catching him on
Yeah.
his back to go up 5-0 pretty early.
Herbert talks about it. He's like, he gets down real quick, and then he just tries to do crazy stuff to catch up, and then he gets put on his back. He gets taken down, and nothing was working. So
okay. So it's more of like a, getting caught in weird scrambles, giving up back points. And I don't see that from a match with Ed Ruth, even in folk style. Yeah, I think you definitely have to take into account that the match that we watched was freestyle. I mean, I know he had 5 takedowns, but, it
was
really
5
Another-
takedowns to 1. I mean,
I think another big thing to look at is, right, Ed Ruth was his best in college. You're going through, the grind in college, getting prepared, and you're better shape. I think that when Ed Ruth wrestled in freestyle, I don't think he was all in, fully committed to it. I don't think he was probably training at the level he did when he was at Penn State. And I think that also is kind of a factor going into those freestyle matches that they wrestled.
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, but Herbert's also like nearing 30 at this point. So
Yeah,
you can't. He's not in the best shape either.
yeah.
He's out of his prime.
That
I'm
mullet,
going with the
mullet was in the
two-time
prime.
national champ Ed Ruth here.
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
Did you
Lord.
watch the match, Seth?
I watched it, dude, and that's why you almost swayed me the other way, but I ain't falling
He
for
took him
it,
down
dude.
5 times.
Whatever, man.
5.
Ed Ruth wasn't in his prime. He looked like crap, and I'm going Ed
He
Ruth
was
in his
in the
prime for
finals
his
of the
junior
World Team
years.
Trials.
Nah, he wasn't in his prime, dude.
Oh my
Ed Ruth.
goodness!
Hey, Jack.
There's no way.
Jack, what style are we wrestling here?
It's folk style, but you can make an argument that Jake Herbert was better at folk style too.
I'm pretending I didn't even see that match, dude.
That's
Forget it.
dumb. That is dumb. They
This is
clearly wrestled.
2013 Ed Ruth. That match had not happened yet.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
It
so
would be worse if it had happened.
that
I'm not Ed Ruth.
Oh no! It's Herbert here. Jacob's gonna choose Ed Ruth because I'm getting fired up now.
Oh, hell yeah, I am. Let's go Ed Ruth. Ed Ruth.
It's Herbert here.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna pile on with what Seth said. Ed, like we even heard from people that were on the show, like Ed was kind of up and down with his, like, I guess, commitment to wrestling. Like that first year, apparently he wasn't like fully locked in and wasn't really all into it. And then he really locked in and was motivated and destroyed everybody. And then I think the same thing happened with his freestyle career after. He just kind of wasn't all into it and wasn't the same guy. Right? And so we get, if we're talking freestyle careers, every day of the week it's Jake Herbert. But we're talking about these dudes.
He didn't even out freestyle him. He just took him down 5 times.
Again,
He stopped his misdirection and he spun behind him.
2 different guys. Absolutely 2 different Ed Ruths. Okay. Ed Ruth in college was a phenom. One of the best to do it, man. I mean, he was insane. And I just think, prime Ed Ruth in college, there's not many dudes that I'm picking over him.
Would you choose Gabe Dean over him?
Huh? No.
Well, okay. Would you choose Gabe Dean over Jake Herbert?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, that was not a good comparison there.
Yeah, that was bad. That was awful, Jack.
Why? Transitive property definitely applies here.
He just said that he wouldn't pick Dean over either of them. So
Yeah.
I
No.
don't know.
I don't pick Dean over either of them.
now, see, this is how Jack's getting nervous here. He's just throwing random things out to try to prove a point.
Dude, It's Herbert here. We watched the match. It was 5 takedowns to 1.
We watched a freestyle match multiple years later.
It was folk style wrestling.
With a half-hearted Ed Ruth. Dude
and
was
a
not all the way in.
30-year-old Jake Herbert that had been living in the mountains.
Hey, whatever.
When Ed Ruth zoned in and wanted to get it done, he got it done.
I want to hear Earl and Tony's.
In a dominating fashion.
All right. Tony, what do you think?
Dominating.
I want to pick last because I was on the team with both of them, and I have my opinions on this one.
Sweet. All right, Earl.
Oh boy.
Right, so before we started recording, at least, I said how I think that Herbert's one of those guys that gets overlooked about how good he was during his time. And, you know, he was in that weight class with Askren the year before, and, you know, people see him getting majored in the finals and kind of make assumptions about that. But, you know, Herbert was legit, and I'm going with him here.
Yeah, there we go. Leave it to Tony. Best.
All right.
Made a wrong choice, but excited for what this is gonna bring.
There's 2 guys on this list that I feel are some of the most disrespected national champs ever, and one of them was Derek St. John. The other one is Ed Ruth. I will go on record to personally say he's the best Penn State wrestler ever, even out of the group he was with. That dude was so freaking good. And in 2014, when he came and we both made the team together that year, I got pretty close with him. We spent a lot of time together. And I can tell you guys that I know in 15 he had no care to even be there to wrestle. And that's when Herbert made his comeback when he was gone for 2 years. Or it was either 2 or 4 years when Herbert took that break.
Mm-hmm.
When Herbert came back, that was one of the best Herberts I've ever seen. So I think that's when you go and look at that match. You got an Ed Ruth who's on a big down climb, and you got a Herbert who's refreshed, re-energized, his body's, you know, healed back up, and he's ready to go. So I have to throw that match totally out the window. I can't take that results for what it's worth. Because Ed Ruth in college, that dude was one of the best to ever do it. And like I said, I think he was even better some of the guys that were on his team. So I'm picking Ed Ruth.
Heck yeah.
Let's go.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Take that. Jack and Earl always picking the same.
Okay, but Tony is the only one to put real evidence forth and say something.
Is that similar to what I said?
He said the same thing we said.
More details, info. He had
actually
the
had
behind-the-scenes look at it.
You were assuming that he just didn't like wrestling at that point.
Okay.
Ed Ruth wanted to go into MMA so bad after 14. He was already making his transition when we were at training camps. He was focusing on really, you know, a lot of his fighting stuff. It was just a totally different mentality for him then.
Yeah, I mean, we had David Taylor on, and that's what he said at one point. We talked about it. It was just that, you know, he kind of wasn't all bought in.
David Taylor beat up on because I think David Taylor even said that Ruth would David Taylor teched him in freestyle, but he said that Ruth would kill him in the room, like, big time. And I think that it's the same case where it was when Ruth just didn't seem to be all in some of his freestyle stuff. And there wasn't a lot of money in it at the time as much as there is now. And I think that he was more focused on figuring out how he was going to make a career out of combat sports.
Yeah. And I 100% agree with you, Tony, when you said that you think he might be the best Penn State guy. When I was, you know, FRL did their, like, list of 5 or whatever, and, like, he was definitely top 2 for me. And
what was their top 5?
I'm pretty sure
they all did different people. But, I mean, most of them ended with David Taylor at the 1 and Zane at the 2. Most of them.
If you don't have David and Ed Ruth 1 and 2, then your list makes no sense.
For sure.
I'm pretty sure Ruth had over a 90% bonus point rate his junior and senior year, which is insane.
Yeah, absolutely. But we have come down to the end of this one, and Ed Ruth takes the win, giving the 2013 team a 25-12.
Do you guys pick on Jack a lot during this?
No, they usually pick on me.
Jacob does.
They usually pick on me, so I guess you just got on
Whenever
a
I
better show
pick,
for
they
me.
pick the opposite. Every
Absolutely
I'm
not
pretty sure
true.
every time Jack loses a matchup, Jacob asks me if he's crying. So
Yes, that's probably
I
true.
think that happened. That happens.
I got to make sure
often.
he's doing it right. Jack's got a little Tar Heel blood in him.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
No, Jack, I picked Trent, so I picked with you on several of them. But that's going to wrap it up for us, guys. The number 2 team, 2013, is going to move on to the semifinals. And in our next episode, we're going to figure out who it is that they'll face. Our last quarterfinal is going to be 2004 versus 2019. So one of those 2 teams is going to advance and face this 2013 team, and we'll have our semifinals set. But thank you, Tony, for coming on today. We really appreciate it, man.
No, thank you guys.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks.
All right. Well, that's it for us from the HMA team signing off. Thanks for coming on, guys. See you next time.